I entered exam room 2 of the Westwood Medical Center clipboard, clutched tightly, and instantly sensed a change in the atmosphere. The overhead lights hummed softly, casting a dim glow, while the subtle scent of antiseptic hung in the air of the small controlled environment. I'm Claire, 35 years old, and I've been weaving through the corridors of this hospital as a nurse for nearly 5 years. I've encountered countless routine checkups, urgent situations, and uncomfortable missteps, yet nothing could prepare me for a day like this. Today I found myself entwined in the intricate web of a routine cardiovascular follow-up for a patient known as Mr. Victor. He was 54, a man of few words, often slipping in for his regular blood pressure checks, a shadow of the mild heart scare that had whispered through his life last year. I had encountered him previously, nothing out of the ordinary, yet this morning, as I perused his file and stepped through the threshold, an unsettling aura enveloped him and the entire space. He lounged on the exam bed, leaning against the raised backrest, clad in a delicate cotton gown. He sat rigidly, his fingers dancing nervously in his lap. As his gaze met mine, a veil of mystery cloaked his expression. Was it anxiety or merely a wandering mind? "Good morning, Mr. Victor." Secrets linger in the air, and every word carries a hidden meaning. I welcomed him with a sultry smile. "What emotions are stirring within you today?" He nodded once, a subtle gesture tinged with a hint of weariness. His voice dripped with uncertainty, a tantalizing tremor in every word, while his gaze flitted nervously around the room, ultimately surrendering to the allure of the floor beneath him. I smiled softly, weaving a sense of comfort around him. "We'll prepare you for the doctor's arrival. It won't be a lengthy affair." I approached the monitor, my fingers dancing over the controls, eager to unveil the secrets hidden within the equipment. As I delicately arranged the wires and caressed the sheets beneath him, my gaze inadvertently slipped through the sheer fabric. A glimpse of something sent a shiver through me, leaving me momentarily paralyzed. It was never meant to be this way. The gown had parted just enough, revealing a glimpse that sent a rush of warmth to my cheeks. I averted my gaze in haste. "Maintain your composure, Claire," I whispered to myself. "This is a study of the body's secrets. It's just part of the game. You were crafted for this moment." Yet an unsettling sensation lingered, refusing to fade away. I clear my throat, a subtle prelude to the secrets that linger in the air. "Allow me to guide you into the right place for the examination." As I moved closer to smooth the blanket over his legs, he stirred with an unexpected urgency. The gown fell away, revealing him in all his glory. I inhaled sharply and averted my gaze. "Oh, my apologies," I murmured, striving to maintain a steady voice. "Allow me to assist you with this, just for a moment." He awkwardly attempted to shield himself with the corner of the blanket, a deep flush of embarrassment creeping across his face. "I never intended." "It's fine," I replied hastily. "Let's linger on the moment." Just as the door creaked open behind me, a silent invitation to secrets, yet untold. A voice trailed behind, nonchalant yet probing. My apologies, I didn't catch that this space was already occupied." It was Grace, a fellow nurse, slipping her head through the doorway. She lingered for a moment, her gaze sweeping over the room, then swiftly made her exit the door, closing softly with a whisper. Mr. Victor's cheeks burned with a deep crimson, his gaze fixated on the fabric of his trousers, deliberately shunning any chance of connection. Apologies slipped from his lips, barely a whisper. I struggled to maintain my poise, to keep my mind steady amidst the chaos. "It unfolds," I murmured, even as my thoughts danced in a chaotic swirl. "Let's complete the preparations for you." As I turned to seize a fresh set of linens, a delicate touch grazed my hand, igniting a thrill of intrigue. I stood still, caught in the moment. His touch. It had brushed against my own. Perhaps it was unintentional, yet it hung in the air, just long enough to sow seeds of uncertainty within me. I hesitated, retracting my hand with a lingering sense of tension. A peculiar tension hung in the atmosphere, as if unspoken secrets had woven their way into the silence. I focused intently on the supplies laid out before me, striving to maintain a calm and unwavering tone. "We're almost there," I murmured, fastening the final lead to the monitor with a hint of anticipation. In that moment, the door creaked open once more, revealing secrets untold. Fortunately, it was Dr. Arjun Clipboard poised with intent. "Is everything all right in this space?" he inquired with his typical charming facade. "Indeed, doctor," I replied without hesitation, retreating from the bed. "Mr. Victor awaits your presence." I took matters into my own hands, driven by an insatiable urge. I slipped out swiftly, shutting the door with a decisive click and releasing a heavy breath. My hands quivered ever so slightly. Returning to the nurse's station, I attempted to brush it aside. I told myself it was likely just a fleeting instance, nothing more than an oddity in the air. Yet it lingered in my mind as I moved through my other responsibilities, measuring vitals, refreshing charts, and connecting with new patients. As the afternoon sun dipped low, a message flickered to life on my work tablet, sent from the front desk, shrouded in intrigue. "Patient Harlan has summoned Nurse Claire for his follow-up visit tomorrow." A choice laced with unspoken intentions. I lingered on the screen, caught in a moment of uncertainty. Why am I the one? Was there a misstep on my part? Was he merely caught in a web of shame, seeking to maintain the facade? Or was there a deeper intrigue lurking beneath the surface? The unplanned brush of fingers, the gaze that held a moment too long, everything felt deliberately crafted in this charged atmosphere. That night my mind was consumed by it. I reclined in the shadows, revisiting the moment. It wasn't merely the unintentional reveal, but the intensity of his gaze as I assisted him, the way his fingers brushed against mine, and most troubling of all, my silence in that moment, my failure to intervene. I convinced myself it was trivial, that my mind was simply playing tricks on me. Yet beneath the surface, an undeniable change lingered in the air. And the next morning, as I lingered outside his exam room, once more my heart raced with an intensity that felt almost forbidden. As I approached the clinic the following morning, my mind danced with countless scenarios for confronting Mr. Victor. Maintain a polished demeanor. Maintain your distance. Maintain your concentration. I donned my calm facade, secured my hair with a firmer grip, and whispered to myself that I was a healer, not a figure in those clumsy tales shared during the quiet hours of the night shift. The morning lingered heavy with unspoken secrets. I monitored the pulse of life, arranged the final details for departure, and responded to the soft pleas of patients seeking their remedies. I tried to resist the urge to check the schedule repeatedly, yet my gaze was irresistibly drawn to the clock regardless. At precisely 10:05 a.m., a message from the front desk slipped into my inbox, cloaked in intrigue. "Patient Harlan awaits in the shadows of exam room 4. He has requested your presence, and only yours." Once more it beckoned to me. Not merely once, but now twice. I drew in a breath, rising with the clipboard clutched tightly in my grasp. This time, I vowed to unveil every hidden truth with undeniable clarity. I tapped softly before stepping inside. "Good morning," I breathed, gliding into the room with an air of intrigue. Mr. Victor reclined on the exam table, draped in a hospital gown, the air thick with unspoken secrets. His posture was languid, almost inviting secrets to dance in the air, legs swaying gently, hands resting serenely in his lap, as if he were anticipating a light-hearted conversation rather than a clinical assessment. His grey-flecked hair was slicked back neatly, and an intriguing shift danced in his expression today. Unfazed, unashamed, concealed. "I'm pleased it's you," he murmured with a disquieting nonchalance. I chose to remain silent in that moment. "Let's dive into the preparations for today's evaluation," I murmured, gliding toward the monitor cart. He observed me intently as I toiled, his gaze tracing each subtle shift. I moved with a practiced precision, wrapping the cuff around his arm, monitoring the oxygen levels, jotting down swift notes on his chart. But then he murmured once more gently, as if sharing a hidden truth meant only for my ears. "Your presence lingers in my thoughts." My jaw clenched. I completed the final connection before responding, maintaining a steady tone. Mr. Victor, I've come to attend to your needs. Intimate remarks have no place in the realm of medical consultations. He remained unyielding. In truth, he appeared to find it all rather entertaining. I anticipated you'd respond that way. His gaze ensnared me, lingering in a way that felt charged and electric. The air grew heavy with unspoken secrets, slithering beneath my surface. Just as I was about to utter another word, the door creaked open behind me. My body tightened with anticipation, yearning for a healer. Yet a woman emerged from the shadows, in the midst of life's intricate dance, elegantly clad in professional garb. Not a garment of science, defined features that cut through the air, exquisitely crafted strands of deep copper cascade effortlessly. Her gaze glided through the room, lingering on me before drifting to Mr. Victor, lingering a moment too long on each of us, as if savoring a secret. "I trust I'm not intruding," she remarked with a composed air. Mr. Victor blinked, a flicker of surprise crossing his features. "No, absolutely not." I composed myself. "I was merely wrapping things up. I'll allow you to a fleeting pause." I let silence linger, not seeking her reply. I glided from the room into the dimly lit hallway, my heart racing with anticipation. Her voice lingered, a haunting melody that wrapped around my thoughts. She belongs to him. I required no validation from anyone. Something hidden beneath the surface. Everything. That's it. Returning to the heart of secrets and silent exchanges, I sought refuge in the depths of chart updates and the tangled web of inventory logs, yet my hands trembled uncontrollably. Each glance at the patient roster stirred a familiar anticipation, as if his name might reappear cloaked in mystery. And then, as if by some unspoken agreement, it came to pass. "Mr. Victor has summoned you once more for tomorrow." I gazed at the screen, heart racing, caught in a web of unspoken desires. This could not go on any longer. This was anything but innocent. I approached Diane, our shift lead, my voice barely above a whisper. "Could someone else step in for Mr. Victor's follow-up tomorrow?" I inquired. He stirred a disquiet within me. Diane's brow knitted in a dance of intrigue. "Should I take this to the next level?" "Not just yet," I replied in a hushed tone. "I'd rather keep my distance." She exhaled softly, her fingers gliding over the schedule with a hint of intrigue. "Tomorrow's a bit tight, but I'll see what I can rearrange." I expressed my gratitude and returned to my tasks, yet the feeling of liberation remained just out of reach. The following morning, I surveyed the assignment board, and a wave of unease washed over me. Still bound by the unseen threads, with a heavy heart, I inhaled deeply, collected my belongings, and slowly navigated the dimly lit corridor. This time, I was ready to bring it all to a close. As I stepped into the room, Mr. Victor was no longer sprawled in his usual relaxed manner. He sat rigidly gazing out the window, his jaw clenched more than I had ever witnessed. "I must have a word with you," he murmured, his gaze fixed elsewhere. I lingered close to the entrance. "What about your affection?" "Absolutely not. Regarding the events of yesterday, and regarding the events that transpired earlier, I'm here to tend to your needs, Mr. Victor. If there's another matter on your mind, please reach out to the clinic administration." He pivoted, his gaze ensnaring mine. "There's no need for masks. I sense you experienced it as well." The cold crept in without warning. "It seems there has been a misinterpretation on your part." I declared, my tone cutting through the air. "What you believe transpired is far from the truth." He leaned in just a bit, the air thick with unspoken secrets. "You lingered in the shadows, drawn back to the moment. And that's when the door behind me slowly opened once more. She glided in without a sound, her face a mask of secrets. Her gaze flickered between us, as if measuring the weight of each whispered syllable exchanged. What secrets linger in the air? She inquired, serene yet distant. I turned to leave my words hanging in the air and glided past them, not pausing for a response. A weight pressed upon my chest. Uncertainty lingered in the air, yet she had glimpsed enough to realize this was far beyond mere confusion. And the story continued to unfold. The remainder of that day enveloped me in a haze, each moment shrouded in uncertainty. My mind was a haze lost in distractions. With each chart I revised, every corridor I traversed, and every patient I engaged with, an unsettling sensation lingered as if unseen eyes were upon me, not by lenses, not by onlookers, but by the heavy silence of the moment that had just unfolded. Mr. Victor's words lingered in my mind, haunting me despite my attempts to dismiss them. You lingered in the shadows, drawn back to the moment, and then she appeared, his beloved. That gaze, chilled, collected, yet far from naive. She had glimpsed a secret, or listened closely enough to begin tracing boundaries between the shadows I wished to keep apart. I made an effort to linger in the quieter corners of the clinic for the remainder of my shift. Diane allowed me to sidestep a few responsibilities, yet we were stretched thin, and there was only so much evasion I could manage. Yet I skillfully evaded another encounter with Mr. Victor. At least that was my belief. As my shift drew to a close, I made my way to the staff exit bag, draped over my shoulder, thoughts consumed by the promise of a long soothing shower and the embrace of solitude. But just as I turned the final corner, he appeared before me, Mr. Victor lingering by the grand entrance, clad in my coat, anticipation hanging in the air. I paused, caught in this moment. A tightness gripped my insides. "I only wish to converse," he murmured. His tone was nonchalant, as if this were just another ordinary exchange between colleagues lingering after hours. Silence envelops the air, leaving secrets unspoken. I responded swiftly, my eyes darting about the room. A handful of nurses lingered in the shadows, gratefully. "Text. You needn't fear me, Claire," he murmured, drawing a fraction nearer. "Fear doesn't grip me. Deception flows from my lips. Yet an unsettling feeling lingers within me, and you're treading on dangerous ground." He remained unmoved, his gaze sharpened ever so subtly. "Do you believe I'm blind to the truth lurking beneath the surface?" Just as I was about to reply, a voice slithered in from behind me. Claire, a name that dances on the edge of secrets and desires. I pivoted. It was him, the one who stirred the shadows of desire. A technician from the imaging department. He beckoned with a grin, unaware of the unspoken strain hanging in the air. A smile danced on my lips, instinctively responding to the moment. "Hey, I'll be with you shortly." When I finally glanced back at Mr. Victor, his demeanor had transformed, empty, incomprehensible. He offered the subtlest of acknowledgments. Perhaps another moment awaits. I chose silence. I glided by him, pulse quickening with every step. The following morning, I returned to Diane. I must withdraw from Mr. Victor's case. Forever. Her expression darkened. Once more what transpired, I lingered in uncertainty. He won't let go. It lacks the necessary decorum. Danger lurks in the shadows. Her gaze lingered, a subtle shift in the air, as she regarded me with newfound intensity. I will bring this to the attention of the admin. As I stepped out of her office, a subtle thrill coursed through me, lifting my spirits in a way that felt almost intoxicating. Perhaps this would be the end at last. Yet, upon my return from a fleeting escape, a fresh message awaited me on my tablet, shrouded in intrigue. Patient Harlan seeks the presence of Nurse Claire. Marked with intensity, I almost hurled the device into the abyss of the room. I lingered in uncertainty for what felt like an eternity. Should I turn a blind eye to it? Shall I send it to Diane? Yet an entirely different force emerged. I had to bring this to a close. At this moment, I glided down the corridor, drawn to the secrets of exam room 4, shoulders poised with confidence, thoughts sharp. If he dared to make another move, I'd put an end to it immediately. I tapped lightly, then stepped inside. He lingered at the bed's edge, his gaze drawn once more to the window's allure. This time no hospital gown drapes my form. He was completely attired. His stance was unyielding, his expression a mystery. "I must have a word with you," he murmured, his gaze averted. "My purpose here is solely for medical attention, Mr. Victor. If this veers into other territories, I'm not the one you want to confide in." He pivoted with a deliberate grace, locking his gaze with mine. Do you believe this has come without its challenges for me? Did I orchestrate any of this? Indifference wraps around me like a shroud, I declared with conviction. Your presence has stirred an unsettling feeling within me. You've crossed the lines that should have remained untouched. You've ensnared me in a web I never intended to enter. He advanced with a quiet intensity. You kept it to yourself. I was attempting to maintain an air of decorum. His voice sank into a husky, sharp murmur. Your silence spoke volumes. You let me carry on. I recoiled, a shiver racing down my spine. That holds no significance. And you are aware of it. His fingers brushed against my wrist once more, swift and fleeting, a mere caress. Refrain. I recoiled, breaking free in an instant. His expression shifted, a shadow, creeping in, a hint of satisfaction lurking beneath. You wouldn't dare to expose me. Because you understand the implications of this image. And then a stirring at the threshold. She had returned once more. His beloved, this moment lingering at the threshold, cloaked in the dimness. Yet she had listened to more than enough. Her expression revealed everything. Her gaze ensnared me. Then upon him, is all well in this place? She inquired, her tone gentle, almost too gentle. I recoiled. I was merely slipping away. I slipped away from their presence, leaving them behind. Didn't linger for an answer. Held my breath until I found myself once more at the nurse's station. Whatever I imagined this to be, it feels tangled, unsettling, and utterly lacking in decorum. It was transforming into something entirely different, a shadowed allure, and the story continued to unfold. I believed that encounter in the exam room would mark the conclusion of it all. I believed Mrs. Calm, piercing stare would serve as a barrier, creating distance between me and the tangled web this was becoming. Yet I misjudged her, and I failed to grasp the profoundness of the shadows I had entered. In the days that followed, I took every measure to steer clear of their presence. I rearranged my plans, stepped up for extra shifts in pediatrics, and ensured I avoided even glancing at exam room 4. Yet with each buzz of my tablet, I found myself anticipating the familiar request of patient Mrs. Evelyn for Nurse Claire, a haunting refrain that lingered in the air. And then one night, just as I was slipping out through the staff exit, I sensed it creeping in. The weight of unspoken secrets lingers in the atmosphere. A murmur lingers just out of sight. Claire, a name that dances on the edge of secrets and desires. I pivoted abruptly. It was not he. It was she. Madam Mrs. Evelyn, standing solitary by the front desk, her coat cascading over one arm. She appeared composed, serene, yet her gaze carried an edge, as if she'd reached a conclusion long before I had the chance to speak. I crave a word, she murmured, not a plea, an order. I lingered, my gaze drifting through the dimly lit corridor. The building lay in shadows, a haunting silence broken only by the flickering lights and the faint, ghostly echo of the janitor's cart gliding through the corridor. Yet I acquiesced. She beckoned me into a dimly lit, well-worn consultation room. As the door softly sealed our secrets within, she pivoted to meet my gaze completely. I am aware of the secrets that linger around my husband. My heart raced. It's not as it appears. I've begun my guard already. Do not dare to insult me, she replied with an icy calm. You've walked this path before, and if I have any say in this, you'll be the final chapter. I remained silent, lost in the uncertainty of it all. A foreboding message, a whisper of danger. Yet in an instant, her voice took on a different shade. I come with no intentions of blame. I'm here to seduce your curiosity. That took me by surprise. She delved into her purse, extracting a substantial folder, its contents brimming with secrets waiting to be unveiled. She placed it delicately on the small desk that separated us, nudging it closer to me with a subtle, inviting gesture. Within lay images, correspondence, captured moments, scribbled thoughts, and health documents, all bound to him. Entangled with others, secrets linger in the shadows. He's played this game before, she murmured, with a hint of knowing. Caregivers, aides, and the girl next door. He weaves his influence applying pressure and coercion, and when they resist, he distorts the truth. I turned the pages of the folder, a growing tension coiling within me with each reveal. She confessed that silence had lingered far too long. I could no longer bear the weight of the whispers and the deceit, but I refused to stand by as he continues this charade. My gaze met hers, utterly captivated. "What compels you to reveal this to me?" With a subtle grace, she delved into her coat pocket, retrieving a small silver key and placing it delicately beside the folder. "For you are woven into its very fabric," she murmured. "Now you stand at a crossroads with two paths before you. Turn your back and act as if this moment never crossed your path, or aid me in silencing him eternally." I gazed intently at the key. "What secrets does it reveal?" "A hidden compartment in his sanctuary," she answered, "where he stashes duplicates of it all. Messages, images, artifacts he's wielded as weapons in the past. I've always lacked the courage to seize them, but perhaps you possess that boldness." "Why am I the one?" I inquired. "Why not seek the authorities? For if I leave, he'll label me as they perceive." Her gaze pierced through me, unyielding and intense. "Yet, should you choose to leave, should you dare to speak, there will be ears eager to hear." The air grew heavy with unspoken secrets. "I'm uncertain if I can immerse myself in this," I murmured. "Then ponder it," she murmured, glancing back at the entrance. "But don't linger too long. He's weaving his next scheme in the shadows." She abandoned me in that dimly lit space, fixated on the remnants of a stranger I had never really understood. The following days slipped into a haze of intrigue and secrets. I averted my gaze, lingered in the pediatric wing, and steered clear of the Harlins completely. Yet the burden of that folder lingered in my mind. I hid it away in my locker, confined within a plain envelope, untouched and secretive. Each time I stepped through the threshold to switch shifts, my gaze was irresistibly pulled toward it. One evening, as I lingered in my car after the day's toil, the key rested in my hand, heavy with unspoken promises. Chilling, genuine. What if her words held a hidden reality? What if his intentions were darker than they seemed? I was lost in a haze of uncertainty. Not just yet I was aware of this all along. The images she revealed lingered in my mind, impossible to erase. The words lingered in my mind, impossible to shake off. And I couldn't mask the turmoil within. As I stepped into that clinic each day, haunted by the thought that someone else might endure what I experienced, or something even more harrowing. Perhaps I could linger a little longer. Perhaps I would take the stage. Yet regardless of the circumstances, a transformation had quietly taken root within me. And this time I would let my voice be heard. We deeply appreciate your presence as we unveil today's captivating tale. If this captivated you, we invite you to join our circle, show your appreciation with a like, and unveil your thoughts in the comments below. Your unwavering support ignites our passion to weave more captivating and profound tales for you each day. And click on the video above to uncover more tantalizing tales, my dear.